Okay, so good morning. I guess we're starting. It's 8:30, and this is. I hope that you all came to give more power to the users for Power BI, some keynotes and business case about that. So let's begin with Microsoft Data Amp. This is the new Microsoft thing that is currently available, and all the decks and everything is going to be available in the SharePoint Saturday, in the SQL Saturday website. And I will tell you in a second why I was so confused. So, who am I? I'm Jana, and it's nice to have the city I was born in, Moscow, right there, which is a coincidence. What I'm doing is SharePoint, Office 365, and lots of BI using Oracle SQL, Power BI, and some SQL. I have a website, and you're all welcome to visit, and I'll eventually upload there the decks as well. And why am I here is because I wanted to introduce you into Power BI. Now, who has seen this miracle before? All right. I guess that people are familiar here. So for those of you who have seen, there might be things, like most of it, that you have already seen. But I hope that you'll get at least one or two insights in the middle. For those of you who haven't, you are in for a treat if it works. You know, Microsoft still. So what are we going to be doing in the next 15 minutes or so? So first of all, we will introduce the decision support methodology, because working with knowledge management and lots of methodologies, I believe, as a business analyst, I believe that things should start first by introducing methodology. Why we do things, and how is there things that things do, how things are recommended to be done. Then we'll meet oil test systems. Oil test systems is a fake client that I have designed for this demo. It's based on some other real clients. I worked for 2 and something years in Calgary, Alberta. What are we doing in Calgary? Any guesses? Oil, exactly. So this is why oil test systems, because it was really, really close to my heart, and this is where I started my BI demos. And we'll introduce the problem, hopefully shortly, and then we will go to the fun stuff, which is seeing Power BI and looking how Power BI and SharePoint can help oil test systems to communicate better with its clients. So, James Taylor wrote a very nice book. Decision Management System, a practical guide to use business rules and predictive analytics. Now, was actually the first book I have read about this whole BI, the methodology behind BI. And furthermore, I can recommend about data visualizations book and other books, but this one at least set my head straight regarding the methodology. The thing is that the way we make decisions is basically this way, usually. We make a decision, then we go to the analytic inspections, and then we kind of figure out the data. We don't do it on purpose. It's not that we are kind of biased this way, but we tend to trust our gut feeling. Now, sometimes the gut feeling is right, but not always. And looking later on the data to make sure the numbers, crunch the numbers before the presentation. Whoever did not do it did not go to MBA school. So this is something that we all do. Now, what James Taylor is, this is going to be trouble, isn't it? What he is introducing is the right way to make a decision, which is first of all the information, the input data, whatever was there, then the analytic insights. Oh, I see this trend, I see this, I see that. Then make the decision, and then you have the feedback loop with the KPI analysis following the decision process. Now, we won't cover the whole feedback loop. I have another lecture about that as well, but here today, we'll try to see the analytic insights and how Power BI helps us to create them, and might make a decision or two. So this is the methodology part. Now, also a little little bit more is what is a DBS, Decision Support System. We all know what's a BI system, but now let's discover this abbreviation. So again, from data to information to insight. Whoever is familiar with the knowledge management methodology knows that that goes from data, information, knowledge. The decision support system takes it just one more level up. Okay, meet oil test systems. We talked about methodology, we talked about, for 5 whole minutes, I've explained who the engine theories and what is decision support. What do we need it all for? We are here as business users, as business analysts. How many business analysts are there? Oh, okay, that's good. SQL Saturday Redmond. So I'm happy. And we are also helping, and the rest I assume are IT and SQL experts. We are helping the business to solve some kind of a problem. So in order to help the business solve the problem, we need to introduce the business. In this case, Autotest System. It's a small company. I love creating solutions for small company because Office 365 enables us to do that. And a small company is not going to usually buy a lot of software and support it inside. So unlike big companies right here, this is something that is very useful for them. But of course, Office 365 is amazing for big companies as well. Small company. What is this company doing? It's doing oil analysis, movement analysis, heavy duty oil fuel analysis. What does it mean? They either run the machinery for several hours or drive the cars, the huge trucks that makes a lot of noise. And they test how many hours it took, what was the level of each kind of substance in their engine and in their oil before and after those tests. So yes, meet the client, the real client. Those are the real clients. If we are talking about rig systems, so those kind of mechanical components that goes into the drilling. If we are talking about the engine, which needs oil and not just fuel, and if we're talking about those huge trucks that just perform their routes. So we have 2 types of tests for all of those chemical components. We have 2 types of tests. The field test, when they actually take the trucks to run around and measure how many hours, and the lab result and the lab test, when they send the oil, they take the oil, the sample from the oil, and just like we send our blood samples, this is the car's or the rig's blood sample. And there are, of course, the different implementations of that. Now we'll get, after the business part, we are getting to the IT part. In order to enable all this, what is actually done behind the scenes? So currently what's happening, and we know it from a lot of small businesses, is that there is a client with the truck. He kind of emails or calls about the new test, goes to the client customer representative or the secretary, and also he gets into the database. Now, on-premise SQL database that nobody sees except for the company. Problem here is that there are 2 databases. One of them is actually a personal computer of somebody with an Access legacy system. And the other is a SQL server that is used by this very handsome guy. This is the lab technician. And he's also very computer savvy. So they think, they kind of assume they need just half an IT department only for the DBA things and the top things. He built the Access. He rules it all. And of course, we have another team. We said that we have 2 types of tests. Those are the technicians. They are filling the application, and they have their results stored in this database. And those are the people on the field that tested the huge trucks. Now, what happens to them? Can they fill the report in the SQL or in the Access on-premise? Of course not. What they are doing is basically using the spreadsheet, but the paper one. Then they come back, and then they're using the spreadsheet to fill either this system or that system. Still didn't figure it out. But sometimes, maybe even both. So I think many people have seen this kind of scenario before. Yes. And including the wise guy that really, really, really is wise, is smart, but sometimes you need a solution that is a little bit more generalized than that. So, oil test customers need. Who are the oil test customers? Anybody help? Who are the customers? Okay. So the customers are basically companies that want their equipment to be tested. The owners of those huge trucks. What do they want to do? What every customer wants to do? View their reports online instead of sending them via email. And what I've heard is some of the customers haven't heard of email yet, so they're saying it too fast. But this is very the minority. This is the minority, small alternatives. Still heard. Be able to communicate with the technicians online. Why online? Because right now they're sending the email. After approval process, they are going to schedule a call. On this call, the technician is going to give all the advices he has. Now, half of it is going to be forgotten because I know how I am after a technical call. And the other half is not always recorded, and things just get lost in translation there. And we just received lots and lots of email communications on the lab technicians. Lab technicians need to perform lab tests, not to communicate via email all day long. Discuss other options and analyze different oil types. Now, what's the whole point of this exercise? What's the whole point of this company? Is to give some kind of a recommendation. Okay, now we are recommending to use a different type of oil. Why? Because the magnesium level are too high, or because the oil hours are not that efficient. So maybe they can recommend me a different type of fuel or something because my usage per kilometer is kind of bad. So, and the future need. Advanced decision making. How does weather affect the oil? In Alberta, it's a very, very big thing with the weather. So when the snowstorm hits, maybe we need to use not just different tires, but also different oil. Just maybe. And this is something that also we can use predictive analytics to be helped with. This is so test component, analyze data, compare to the standards, make recommendations, and send to the client. That's the process. So what's behind this whole smoke and mirrors? That's smoke and mirrors up there. No. What's behind the smoke and mirrors? We have not even 50, but even more right now. It's closer to 100 apps and other things that can be connected directly to the PowerBI service. PowerBI service is in the cloud. I guess I don't have to explain that part here. And there are secure gateways. So PowerBI is managing its own users? No, it's not. I have sent you an invitation to a group. The gateway for the PowerBI, in my case, because it's PowerBI in the cloud, is done through groups, through SharePoint groups. And when you download the group application and the PowerBI application, you can see all the links from the groups. You will be able to see but parts of what we will see here. So that's one way to manage data gateways. Now, I'm working with an Oracle system. For me, the managed data gateways is done on premise because there are several organizations that just say cloud. No, that's the enterprise. So we are not touching the cloud ever. Let's talk in a year or so, but okay. So right now, the management of those permissions can be done in the on-premise Active Directory, or of course in direct database access. We have the connection string, and every user needs to enter his password and his connection in order to, and his username in order to get the data. So the data is secure. Now, what's the whole publishing thing? Power BI has several ways to access. I didn't like those ones, so we'll have to do that. So access, so just another application from the desktop. The cell phone access, because you can see it on my cell phone, even editing you for the cell phone. And my favorite, the Office 365 access. Just another tile that you can use. So the publishing goes into directions. You can publish it inside your computer even. That's in the free version. And this Power BI dashboard is going to stay in your computer. You can decide to send it to me, for example. If I have the right credentials, I can see it. If you uploaded the data on the cache, I mean, the data is part of the report now, you will see all the data, but you will not be able to refresh because you don't have the connection for obvious reasons. But you will be able to see the visualizations and the data that was sent together with the report. And of course, if you are not using the desktop version, but you're using the online version or publishing it to the SharePoint group or to the PowerBI group, then everybody who is part of this group can view the data. Now, what happens if there is no access to the actual database, for example? Then, whatever, again, same thing, the same way it works on the desktop version, it works on the online version. If you have the permissions or it's cached, you'll see it. If it's not cached, there is a little cross down there and they'll say something went wrong. Well, as usual. So that's basically what's behind this smoke and mirrors. Are we ready? I don't know, we'll see. Okay. So first of all, we started with the business case, so we continue with the business case. Now, that's Oil Test Systems website. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. Okay. Now we're good. Yes, perfect. So that's the Oil Test Systems website. What have we got here? It's a SharePoint 365 website. Why are we talking about this in SQL Saturday? Because not all SQL users know about SharePoint and about the fact, okay, let me rephrase it. Most of SQL professionals have an ambivalent relationship with SharePoint at times. So I just answered last week a very interesting question on Quora. Why people hate SharePoint? So you're invited to see why. And this is a website that allows Oil Test Systems just to see their organizational things, such as our employee, quality assurance, all the recent stuff, and even newsfeed and conversation. Of course, it's simplified just for the demo. Now, what I'm saying is they don't have to be just inside their system and their site, because this is something that even their file share can give them. There are just 50 employees, let's not get carried away. They can communicate with their clients by going right here. Okay, now it looks better, right? Now, what is this? This is no longer just the pretty or not so color-coordinated portal. Now, it's actually a group, a site that allows people in the organization to share the information with their customer Edge Drilling. Edge Drilling brings the rig component to the lab and kind of leaves it there. And now it can see, and they can see online in real time what is actually happening to this component. So what we have got here, we have got inspection and rig classifications. We have got the data. We have got the checks repository, maybe some archive, lab results, unit, and of course their last lab report to be connected to. Now, why is it important? Because right now, if the customer sees that online, instead of seeing the report that was not viable, that was not communicated with both sides, the customer can communicate with Oil Test System. He can call them, and on the scheduled call, or even on the scheduled call, discuss real data, what really is happening here. They can also have a chat, and they can also, if just not call because they have the information, because sometimes the information they need is just, we lost the email or something, and here they have all the results they need. Now, so if we go to the lab results tab, just a second, I'm exploring, yes. Oops. Okay. Here we go. So now we have reports by date or any other report. We have the data itself. Now, what is behind the scenes here? For whoever is a little bit familiar with SharePoint, that's you. For whoever is a little bit familiar with SharePoint, those basically are SharePoint lists. Now, what I like about SharePoint and about Power BI is that no code is necessary. So every end user, every customization expert can actually customize some of the things according to permission and be, well, self-sufficient if they have the right guidance and the right implementation in the organization. And even if they have the wrong, it is a step forward from the Excels and the emails. So what we have got here is the basic one. We have the lab results. We can filter them by using those little filters by component or by unit ID or by any other thing that we feel necessary to filter at all. We can compare them to the standard results that are listed over here. So the customer, those standard results can be fed by the client every each month. They have some, by the company each month because they have some standard results, industry standards, like in every industry. And they can compare it manually, and they can have the first layer of decision support. This thing. Why is it yellow? Because it is not compatible with the standards. Okay? Why is it yellow here? Did I use Power BI? No. Did I use Excel, SSRS? No. Did I use any kind of reporting tool? No. It's just a very, very simple JavaScript that compares and colors them in yellow. So this is the first yellow. This is the first layer of decision support. Now they can decide, okay, there is a problem with the magnesium level, as we can see for those components. Now, let's discuss this problem. Let's see, let's dive deep. Let's go and share the graphs about that. Now, the customer is aware that there is some kind of a problem. Now, all the results, of course, there are more of those, are right here. And we can see who modified the result, in this case, me, obviously. But the thing is that from here, we can go to Scattergun Business and we get all the information to communicate with the specific person about the problematic result. So we have the whole communication layer. Now, what's the next step? The next step will be to make one of those pretty little dashboards, right? Because this looks cool, and we need to embed it in SharePoint. So first of all, what is that? That is a Power BI report embedded into a SharePoint page. What is based on? Just those lab results that you have seen a second ago on the screen that were in Power BI. Okay, how do I get to Power BI? The first way to get to Power BI is from here. Yes, there are many tiles. So we just choose this tile specifically, Power BI, and we get the online version. I wanted to show you first of all the desktop version. The desktop version is right on the desktop, as you can see. So it's not something that I have connected to. It can be standalone, and I can save all the files in there. So we just get a new dashboard. I have the results already here in Save Dashboards in case of some demo gods are not with me tonight, but today, but we'll see if things go well or not. We have a blank new dashboard. This is how you get it after you download Power BI. Now, the Power BI desktop, every month there's some kind of an update. So go to the PowerBI.com, MicrosoftPowerBI.com, download the updates every month. It's still a new product. All the dashboards still work with the previous versions. The problem is if you have a more updated dashboard, sometimes things not go so well. So this is why we need to update all the time. I guess they'll solve it eventually. And we go to the list of lab results, this little list. We copy the URL. Okay, for whoever has already seen Power BI, I guess this stage is a little bit familiar. We go to Get Data. Now, what's the Get Data options? Remember in the beginning of the presentation I said about, they said more than 50, it's like 100 applications in different data sources. So this is how we connect with them. We do the Get Data and we can just see everything that is accessible and not accessible to us. What do I mean by that? If I now go to Oracle database, or I go to Salesforce, which is also part of the list somewhere down there, I won't be able to connect because I don't have an online account there, or I'm not on premise and I'm not connected. So it's an option, but I need to have the actual applications. I can't just connect to data because I want to. Well, maybe someday. And we go to the online services. We can connect also to files, for example, Excel file. I'm not going to show this today because, well, there are many demos I can show. We can connect to databases, Azure everything. So if you have a SQL on Azure, if you have some machine learning on Azure, whatever you have on Azure, it's going to connect in here. And the online services, and this is what we came for. Here's Salesforce. You can connect it into your GitHub, MailChimp. Although I find that the GitHub has the graphics that you need for your performance evaluations. There's not so much that PowerBI can add, but of course in the future. Now, SharePoint list. I will not. Oh, here we go. SharePoint online list. We connect to the SharePoint online list. We paste the URL. Now we delete this part. We just go with the site's name. And now is the tricky part. Okay. Now I am connected with my user. You can see here on top, if you can see the little print, it's my name there. I'm connected with my user. If I would not connected with my user, of course, you would prompt me, okay, now you have to put your credentials in there. I won't show this because, well, you can see it for yourself later. And now I want to remember which kind of list I was talking about. Oh, this one, lab results. It also shows me the lab results in the preview, and it's already connected to the data source. Now, yes, I can do it with SSIS, and with SSRS, right? I can do it. I can do it with other tools. Yes, of course. This one is just easier because I don't see myself giving the user the ability to do SSRS. But here, I can basically tell him, okay, this is your link, go. I've pressed right here on edit, and here I can edit my query. Now, what can I do with that? I already have got the fields themselves. I can have an R query. I can have a very, very complicated model model that is going to be supported. But I can also do just some of the basic stuff. For example, I want to remove all the null columns, all the system columns, or at least some of them. Content type ID, this is something from SharePoint. I don't need it for this demo, and so on and so on. I also want to remove those little stars because I want a numeric value. I don't want a value that is alphanumeric. So I can do this little thing, replace values. It is that easy. This is the whole find stars in this column and replace them. That's it. Now we replace the values, we remove the star. Now, in SQL, yes, of course I can do select from, and I can do the whole thing with the commands that are relevant. This is not that big a problem. But update table but the user can't do that. Here the user can do it himself or herself. And what else have I got here? I also wanted to do one more change. I wanted to modify the oil hours, if we can find them. Oil change, client ID, component hours. Here we go. This is how long the component was actually running. So I want to do two things. I want to replace the null value with 5,000. Why? Because I'm messing with the data. And I want to do one more thing. As you can see, there is also a data type in this column. So I'm doing, I will change the type to a decimal number. Right. Now the type has changed, and I have the addition already ready. I do not need to mess with the code just to do those data configurations. Can I do it in Excel? Of course I can, but again, it depends what is your goal. I can. Power BI is based basically on Power Query. So whatever you can do with Power Query in Excel, you can do here. There are several questions about existing Power Queries and existing Power Queries reports in Excel, how Power BI reacts to them. So some of them needs to be rebuilt. There are, however, options, if you want to discuss it, to do not a rebuild, but actually migrate some of the queries. The data, of course, is migratable because it's an Excel chart. If we can connect to SharePoint, we can connect to Excel. Now, the fun stuff begins, right? We created a report. We brought our data source and data columns. So let's do some visualization. Let's try, for example, this one. I'm dragging to those fields, to those filter fields, the axis that I want to. Whoever is worked with Power Pivot before, Excel. Yeah, there are some. So you recognize it. Basically the same idea, but black and not white. So I had one consultant. I still admire him. He came to the client and they told them that he wants a Power BI report. He just did Power Pivot, painted it all in black, true story, said, here we go. And actually, he was right, because back then Power BI was just beginning. It was 2 years ago, and yes. So what can we put in here? Let's put the values in as aluminium. And I think we fixed, we had the magnesium, this is. And let's build an axis, because without an x-axis, there is nothing they can actually see. So the axis is going to be oil type. Oh wow, look at this. Just like creating an Excel chart, nothing complicated at all. What have we created here? We took the data, we cached the data in this particular exercise. We can also do a connection, and we created a data visualization that is going to give us the count of aluminium and magnesium in each and every one of those component types. And what can we do with it now? We can, of course, spin it to some kind of a dashboard. But before, let's have another visualization. What else do I want to visualize? I can visualize, of course, oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted a new one. So I want to visualize the number of hours, because this is what we want to see at the end of the day. So we choose as the x-axis again. Let's do the number of hours, component hours. This is the value. And the x-axis is going to be our